In the ever-competitive world of photography, it can feel difficult to differentiate yourself and stand out from the crowd. And if you are a nature photographer like myself, that task can feel even harder when it feels like all of these photographers are photographing the same landscapes. So in an effort to stand out, a few years ago, I came up with this very bizarre method to trick the viewers of my photography into thinking it is more creative or unique than it actually is, and to actually expand my portfolio. And in this video, I'm going to spill the beans on how I do it. And to start this off, let's go ahead and take a look at this slot canyon image here. This is one of my favorite slot canyon images I've taken in the last few years, and most of the reason why is because the light is coming from the bottom of the image. It's got this really unique feeling where the light is coming from the bottom and it's giving this really unique upward glow on the walls, but that is definitely not how it was when I took the photo. In reality, the photo was actually just like this, where the light was coming in from the top. And while I still really like this composition and the light, I think that by simply twisting this image and flipping it upside down, we instantly transform the scene into something much more unique to the eyes. Here's a photograph of the iconic bonsai tree in East Zion National Park. It is very famous, and this composition is surely one that you've seen before. But if we have our image in Lightroom and go up to Photo here, and then down to Flip Horizontal, suddenly we have an angle of the tree that no one else has. Trust me, I know this sounds stupid, but when I posted this photo online, I got a ton of comments telling me that they had never seen this angle of the tree before. Sometimes all it takes is flipping the image of an iconic scene to get a fresh perspective. Earlier this year, I was leading a private group workshop up in Arctic Alaska, and we came across this beautiful scene in the Brooks Range where we had this incredible mountain, and the light was just casting these beautiful shadows of these baby spruce trees, and there was even moose tracks in the snow giving us a leading line, and when we photographed it, and we were like, yes, this is awesome, so cool. And then we drove down the road one more minute, and then we saw this incredible patch of ice over on the side of the road that made this incredible foreground with these ice crystals. So we went out again and we got down low and we made these images right here. Now, I typically don't like having the same composition or multiple similar compositions in my portfolio or when I'm posting on Instagram. So what is the solution to this? I simply flipped one of the photos. No one but me is going to know that this is the same mountain, and my portfolio doesn't feel so repetitive. Here's another example of some aerial photos taken in Pakistan where I desperately tried to milk as many photos as I could out of the shoot. In each of these images, the ridges are all going in the same direction, which makes them feel quite similar to each other. But by flipping a couple of them, we can get a bit more variation and have them not feel so derivative. Here's another one from that morning where instead of flipping it, I simply turned it on its side, and because it's an abstract looking enough composition already, it makes the viewer do a double take to figure out what it is they're looking at. And again, here is another example of this same method in action. This is a super zoomed in shot of ice crystals growing on the top of an ice cave in Alaska. By taking this shot and flipping it upside down, suddenly we have taken away any sense of place from the viewer, and it invites them to spend more time looking at the image. And I've got one last example from these abstract shots of the painted desert. When I was actually on the scene and shooting these photos, each of the images felt quite similar to one another because of the direction the Badlands were going in. But again, by simply flipping one of them, it gives each one of them its own unique character, and they feel complementary to each other rather than feeling too similar. I know these tricks seem ridiculous, but as an added benefit, any comp stompers out there will have a difficult time trying to replicate your image because they're going to be looking in the wrong direction. Hopefully some of you found this video helpful. If you'd like to join me on a photo adventure, head over to my website, warnerwildernessphotography.com. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next week.